This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Tensions over the future of the state's Tarkan region are rising, with a rally calling for its permanent protection attracting thousands of protesters in Hobart today. Speakers urging their audience to vote for the Greens on Saturday. But the Liberals say locking up the area will cost thousands of jobs.
Sending a powerful message to voters. Thousands taking part in a protest run by the Bob Brown Foundation, calling for the long-term protection of Tasmania's Tarkan region.
Hello Tasmania, hello fierce protectors of the Tarkana, thank you for coming out today.
Protesters marching to the state centre of democracy from Franklin Square.
Voting for Will Hodgman is a vote for destruction rather than protection.
But the Liberals say preventing industry and recreational use in the region will cost thousands of jobs in forestry and mining.
We are not of a mind, nor do we have any policy intent to lock up the Tarkan.
The Liberals are so stuck in the last century, so in the pocket of big business. All that they see that beautiful place for is what can be taken from it.
Neither major party were able to attend today's rally, the Premier instead spending his morning at the Cascade Brewery, with the business soon the subject of a $10 million expansion, including a makeover of the visitor centre and a 65% increase in craft beer production.
There were proposals from interstate for similar things to be based there, but we fought hard to make sure through the Office of the Coordinator General that Tasmanian jobs are being protected.
Labor today pledging $750,000 to support Tasmania's men's sheds and $20 million to increase participation in sport, a move following the Liberals' $3 million junior sports policy.
Labor will commit towards the construction of a synthetic pitch for soccer in the Launceston region.
Parties putting out their all on the home stretch to March 3. Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
A Hobart-based music charity is helping aspiring musicians to live their dream by providing them a leg up in the industry. The Nick Balcombe Foundation today awarding 2 grants to Tasmanian performers in a bid to see them make it on the big stage.
Hugo Bladel is well known around the Australian music circuit, and the Tasmanian performer has his sights set high.
To get a main stage slot at a festival, that would be my dream, and you need your own music to be able to do that.
Now that dream is closer to reality, with the 25-year-old awarded a Kickstart Award from the Nick Balcombe Foundation, 4 days at a Hobart recording studio.
Red Planet's kind of the heart of Tasmanian music. A lot of the big artists that have come out of Tasmania have all recorded their music there.
Local band A Swayze and the Ghosts securing $3,000 and industry support.
It's a pretty massive deal to have someone funding like travel and recording expenses. It's a hard thing to come from here and travel. It costs a lot of money.
The foundation was started by family and friends of Nick Balcombe, a Tasmanian musician on the cusp of stardom who tragically died from a stroke 4 years ago.
So he was such a go-getter. Whatever he did, he really was passionate about, and what anyone else was passionate about, he gave them the encouragement to go out and have a good crack at that.
His legacy carries on, with the organisation now awarding opportunities to musicians every year.
And we've had a real challenge in past years, but this year, particularly difficult, I've got to say. It's been an incredible lineup of talent that's put in for the application. He was a super charismatic fella. Yeah, it's an honour to be included in this kind of thing, you know.
Louise Hedger, Southern Cross News.
One of the world's most iconic basketball teams is heading back to Tasmania with players eager to show off their new bag of tricks. The Harlem Globetrotters have been wowing audiences since the 1920s, and 2 of its biggest stars have been busy showing off in Hobart today ahead of the April 18 event.
From Baghdad to Boston and everywhere in between, audiences around the world can't get enough of the Harlem Globetrotters. Now they're bringing their unique brand of basketball back to Tasmania. Stars of the show, Thunder Law and Scooter Christensen, dropping into Hobart to spruik the event at the Derwent Entertainment Centre.
Some of the best ball handlers in the world, but it's more than that. You can expect to have a lot of fun. You know, we're about creating memories that's worth repeating, and we love to see families come out and have fun. So if you come out and smile, we've done our job, and that's what we're about.
The dribbling and dunking dynamos also holding a mini clinic with some of the state's most promising young players, showing off some of the tricks that have put them in the Guinness World Record books 17 times.
You know, we do more stuff off the court than we do on the court, and I think this is what makes the Globetrotters what it is, because we actually get personable with the kids and the families and stuff, and it's fun.
With basketball participation in Tasmania continuing to grow, local basketball legends say seeing the Globetrotters inspire the next generation is critical to continuing success.
A real institution in basketball, and the partnership with the NBL and Basketball Tasmania and others that have been able to facilitate this, it's a real win for our sport, and basketball is booming, and this is a great chance to really celebrate that.
And for any fans who have seen the team play in the past, there's good news. After perennial losers, the Washington Generals folded.
They went on about a 5-year hiatus, but they are back, thinking they can beat us. They haven't beat us since 1971. I wasn't born then, so it doesn't matter to me.
Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
After braving the wind and rain early on, riders in this year's Poly Pedal have been treated to clear skies heading into the finish line today. The event raising $50,000 for diabetes research in Tasmania.
After 3 days and 300 kilometres, this is the Poly Pedal's home stretch. One last workout up the West Tamar Highway. The ride is now in its 13th year, with 20 cyclists taking part in this latest edition. Despite the name, only a handful of politicians make up the peloton. The rest come from a mix of backgrounds. But everyone feels the same sweet relief at the finish line. This year's ride banks $50,000 for Diabetes Tasmania. All of the money will be spent locally.
We've cycled 300 kilometres and visited primary schools and aged care facilities and local community groups.
One rider, Claire Clapchie, has now conquered the challenge 7 times.
It was an amazing ride. It was such a challenge and such a privilege to be able to ride with such a great group of people that all helped each other to get up all those hills.
It's really wonderful the community connections it creates as we go around Tasmania.
The riders raised more than $500,000 over its 13-year history. Tom Johnson, Southern Cross News. AFL Coaches have given Tasmanian footy clubs an insight into how they bring the best out of young players. In one forum, Hawthorn's Alastair Clarkson detailed how football leagues around the country are under more pressure than ever to develop new talent. He's Hawthorn's only 4-time premiership coach, but when Alastair Clarkson talks about his greatest football lessons, he takes it back to his upbringing in the country Victorian town of Coniva.
Where I can try and give back, because I came from a country town. Had I not had that opportunity then I probably wouldn't have enjoyed the opportunities that I've had in the game over a long period of time.
He was one of 4 players from the town to play at the top level in the 80s and 90s. But Coniva hasn't had a single draftee since, and he says local football's decline outside the major cities is being felt not just in Tasmania, but across the board.
So if you think that things are no good down here and what's happening to Tassie footy, I would take you up to the Coniva district area and say this is happening everywhere.
At North Hobart, Kangaroos coach Brad Scott implored coaches to go beyond winning at all costs.
Now, winning might be the most important thing for all of you, who knows? But from the coaching pathway perspective, coaches need to develop philosophy. What is it that they're trying to achieve?
It's something Scott put into practice yesterday, telling his assistant coach to look past the scoreboard in the JLT series hit out at Twin Ovals.
I tied one hand behind his back and said, I don't want it to be a tactical game, I want it to be match practice. So he was trying to coach mindset and urgency and effort more than anything else.
The forums have been organised by the Tasmanian Football Foundation to try and help grassroots footy grow at a time when local leagues and the TSL are feeling the pinch.
We're not here to tell coaches how to coach, and this has come from our advisory board. We're here to help.
A follow-up program will see local coaches receive extra game day and training support in the coming weeks. Tasmania is trailing by 370 runs in the first innings of their Sheffield Shield match against New South Wales. Rain delayed much of today's play at the SCG, with Bo Webster and George Bailey set to resume a 61-run partnership when play gets back underway tomorrow. Sam Rainbow got the Tigers off to a good start, claiming the scalp of Peter Neville in the opening over. Tom Rogers took 4 wickets in the first innings, including Trent Copeland on 41. After New South Wales declared, Alex Doolan went for 9 runs in the 5th over before the covers came on around 3 o'clock, ending the day's play. And finally tonight, the Hobart Sporting Car Club is hailing the success of Baskerville Raceway's 60th birthday celebration with a massive field lining the grid over 3 days. The event bringing modern-day competitors alongside the boy racers of yesteryear, who banded together to build the track in the 1950s.
It may take a back seat to Symmons Plains in the eyes of interstate motorsport fans, but to those in the know, Baskerville Raceway is a hidden gem. Opened in February 1958, the track still maintains much of its character, according to those who raced there in the early years.
I can remember when it was first built, and there were a couple of guys here who'd motor raced or been associated with motorsports in England, and they said it was very, very similar to the first Brands Hatch circuit.
Don Elliott was another of the track's founding fathers and went on to mentor some of Australia's motorsport greats. He says with new tarmac laid around the entire circuit, John Bowell's decades-old lap record of 50.16 seconds is under threat.
Unfortunately, it's not quite long enough to be a national track, but some of the best drivers in Australia love it because it's fun but hard.
The weekend's action serving up plenty for casual fans and motorsport purists alike. There were plenty of modern cars like the Aussie racers, but it's behind the wheel of a historic that Baskerville truly shines. The sound of more than 150 roaring V8s and Fast 4s, music to the ears of organisers who have raised in excess of $1 million to upgrade the circuit.
We are so fortunate in Tasmania to have 2 FIA standard tracks. There are very few states in Australia that can boast that.
Andrew McCarthy, Southern Cross News.
Good evening. We've gone from a high of 29 degrees yesterday for the state down to a high of just 21 today, which was recorded at both Lowhead and Devonport. And temperatures in general were up to 7 degrees below average. Launceston a warm 20, Burnie not far behind with 19 and Hobart reaching just 17. Flinders Island 20 today, 19 for Wynyard, St Helens and Friendly Beaches. King Island and Bushy Park 18, 17 for Strawn. Maria Island and Grove 16, Liaweenie only managing 13 degrees. The satellite sequence shows extensive low-level cloud over the south and a thick mid to high-level cloud band moving through the Tasman Sea towards New Zealand. Thunderstorms are seen through the tropics, especially in northern Queensland, and a trough is bringing a mid-level cloud band over southern Western Australia. The rest of Australia is mostly cloud-free. Here is a closer look at that low-level cloud over the south of Tasmania with mostly clear skies in the north. Tomorrow shows a high over Tasmania that is extending a ridge into South Australia, and a low-pressure trough is running through New South Wales, inland Queensland, the Northern Territory and central WA. Coastal waters now, winds 10 to 20 knots with afternoon sea breezes and seas 1 to 2 metres. There are no weather warnings for the state tomorrow. Hobart will be a partly cloudy 22, Dover the same, and ooze early fog, then a high of 25. Partly cloudy conditions in the north, Launceston 23, 20 in Devonport and Scottsdale 21. Burnie aiming for a mostly sunny 20, 21 and partly cloudy for both Strawn and Stanley. St Helens 20, Swansea 21 and 23 for Ross, all partly cloudy. The UV continues to stay in the very high range. Looking ahead to Tuesday, and a fine day expected apart from light showers about the north. On Wednesday there will be showers statewide, and Thursday some showers in the south and west, contracting to the southwest in the evening, fine otherwise. To the mainland now, showers and possible storms for Brisbane, Cairns, Darwin and Perth, a morning shower or two for Canberra, rain clearing in Sydney and a sunny day for Adelaide, Alice Springs and Melbourne. Currently in Hobart, it's mostly cloudy and 14 degrees. Launceston, 20, mostly sunny, and Devonport, clear 18. Rachel.
Thanks for that, Carmen. Well, that's all your news for now. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week. Good night.